Hello YouTube, welcome to another Season 6 Patch 6.1 guide by Fresh from eGaming Television, and in this guide we are covering top lane Jax. And you can find us at www.egamingtv.com or at Twitter, which is at egaming_TV. So first we're going to cover what Jax is in the top lane. He is a tanky top lane champion that gets tanky from just the active on his passive. He can go for just health, like a Sterak's. That's all he needs, since he gets armor and MR from the active on his ultimate. He's a very high damage champion due to all the attack speed he gets, and since he gets tanky from his ultimate, he can go for a high damage build as well. He is currently a god-tiered champion. He is banned often, but he is good to learn for when you actually get to play him. Another reason he's banned so often is because he's also a god-tier jungler. In this guide, we're going to cover his pros and cons, masteries, runes, summoners, abilities, his ability order, his item build, and a bit of closing information as well. We're going to hop right into Jax's pros and cons, starting with his pros, and the first being he has great survivability. And this is actually due to multiple reasons. The first one would be the activate on your ultimate. When you activate your ultimate, you get bonus armor and magic resist based on your AD and AP. Since Jax is a hybrid champion and we get a lot of AD and AP, that means when we activate this, we get pretty damn tanky. In the end game, this can be anywhere from 80 to 120 to each stat, which is pretty damn high. His next pro is that he's got high burst damage, and especially for a top laner. His passive gets him a lot of attack speed when he keeps attacking targets. That means the more and more he can actually attack in team fights, the stronger and stronger he gets. When we combined the Thunderlord's Decree Mastery and his ultimate, which procs at every 3 attacks, he does a lot of burst that way as well. He'll jump in, get off an AoE stun hopefully, and then keep attacking over and over again, getting faster and faster with stuff proccing in between as well. His third pro is that he's also got a great escape. His Leap Strike kind of acts like Lee Sin's shield, where he can drop a ward and escape that way by jumping to it. He can jump to minions, he can just jump around all over the place pretty much. On top of this, he can even activate his E so he dodges auto attacks over and over again until it procs and then stuns nearby enemies. And of course, if you need to live through a little bit of gank pressure, you can also activate your ultimate. All of these in combination makes him one of the best champions at escaping ganks. Jax's last pro is that he has an AoE stun. It's actually based on a radius around him, so if he jumps into a whole team, if he's got his E already activated, he can jump in and instantly proc it, stunning an entire team. Even if Jax is somehow far behind in the game, even if he gets off this AoE stun, it can be a game-winning move. When you add all these together, you get somebody with high survivability, an AoE stun, and high damage. And guess what? This is why he's banned so often. Now, as strong as Jax is, he still has a couple cons. The first one being he has high early game cooldowns. His E starts at 16 seconds, his Q at 10 seconds, and his W at 7 seconds. Now these are all rather high cooldowns, but each skill does go down as you level it, so eventually they're really low cooldowns. However, obviously early on in the game, you're not able to use your skills very often. This is part of the reason Jax is rather weak early on, however, he gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on. Jax's next con is that he's got no built-in sustain. This can really suck early on in the game because we're not that strong, as I said before. However, we do get a Hextech Gunblade rather early on, and this is where he really shines. Since he is a hybrid champion, he actually makes use of both the Spell Vamp and Lifesteal. And that's why this is our second big purchase right after Ginsu's Rageblade. Jax's last con is that he's really squishy pre-6. The first couple items we go for are all damage based, so he does do a lot of damage early on, but he cannot really survive through anything. Since we get a lot of AD and AP early on, when we do hit 6, we will have all of that AD and AP to turn into MR and armor when we get the activate. This all means that there's a massive spike in both his survivability and damage from his ultimate when we do get 6. So basically when you sum up all of his cons, it just means Jax is really weak early on and he becomes a monster the later the game goes. So all that really means is make it through the lane phase and then go beat up on some people later on. For Jax's masteries, we take what we did in 5.24, which was 12 ferocity and 18 cunning. Even though some of the ferocity skills did get changed, they are still not better than Thunderlord's Decree on Jax. So we start in ferocity by getting Fury for 4% attack speed, followed by Feast, which is killing a unit, restores 20 health on a 25-second cooldown, so we get a little bit of sustain early on. We then move into Vampirism for the 2% lifesteal and spell vamp, since we make use of both for some extra sustain as well. And finally, we get Oppressor, which is deal 2.5% increased damage to targets with impaired movement. Now this is especially good on Jax, considering we do have a stun, and this works with that. We then move into Cunning, getting Savagery, so our single target's attacks and spells deal 5 bonus damage to minions and monsters, so we can last hit a little bit easier. We then move into one of the newer skills, which is Assassin, so we deal 1.5% increased damage when no allied champions are nearby, so we'll always do more damage in the top lane when we are 1v1. We then move into Merciless, so we deal 5% increased damage to champions below 40% health, just to increase our damage a bit more. So we're able to make it through teamfights a bit easier. We grab Dangerous Game, so champion kills and assists restore 5% of our health and mana. We then grab Precision, so we gain 3 plus 0.3 per level Armor Pen and Magic Pen. This mastery actually got nerfed a little bit. It was 5 plus 0.5 per level Armor Pen, and then there's 3 plus 0.3 per level Magic Pen, but this is still a great mastery to take even though it is nerfed. We then grab our main ability, which is Thunderlord's Decree, so our third attack or spell on an enemy champion calls down a lightning strike, dealing magic damage in the area. Now this is really good on Jax because he attacks really fast and he can get a lot of these procs off, and it works with his ultimate very nicely as well. For Jax's runes, we take 9 greater marks of attack damage, 9 greater glyphs of scaling magic resist, 9 greater seals of scaling armor, and 3 greater quintessences of attack damage. Now one first note, the reason we take the greater quintessences of attack damage over attack speed is because he gets a lot of attack speed from his passive anyways, so he does not need that. He does get more from the attack damage. We take the double scaling defensive runes just because Jax is a champion that gets better later and later, so why would we not take the runes as well to get strong as possible in the late game? These runes in combination make him do as much damage as possible late game, as well as being as tanky as possible in the late game. For Jax's summoners, we take the very traditional top lane summoners, which are Flash and Teleport. We take Flash because it's used for chasing, escaping, repositioning, and many more things as well. Teleport allows you to push lanes while still being able to make it to team fights if needed. If used correctly, it can secure kills as well as objectives for your team. Jax is actually one of the best split pushers in the game, considering he goes for a Ginsu's Rage Blade and actually does a lot of AoE damage to minions. With both this and his passive, he gains more and more attack speed as he attacks, so he can take down towers insanely fast. If you're not careful and you get caught not being able to retreat, a Jax can take your base really fast. With all of those out of the way, we're going to look at each of his abilities, starting with his passive, which is called Relentless Assault, and this really is the perfect name for this passive. Jax gains 4% to 14% based on level bonus attack speed for 2.5 seconds every time he lands a basic attack, stacking up to 6 times for a maximum of 24 to 84% based on level bonus attack speed. Now, as you can see here, at max level, with max stats, he gets 84% bonus attack speed. Now that's absurd. That's like 2 full attack speed items together in just a passive. Welcome to a big part of the reason Jax can carry really hard, and it's only a passive ability. Certain champions have stuff like 20 magic resist on their passives, and look at this compared to that. Now we move on to another really strong ability called Leap Strike, which is his Q. Jax dashes to the target unit or allied ward. If his target is an enemy, he deals physical damage to them. Physical damage is between 70 and 230, plus 60% AP and 100% bonus AD. The range is 700, the cost is always 65 mana, and the cooldown goes from 10 to 6 seconds at max rank. So as you can see, the cooldown gets relatively low, the cost isn't that bad, and the ratios are pretty damn good. Some really good abilities get just, 100% bonus AD, but this also gets 60% from your AP as well. On top of that, it is of course great for closing gaps or creating gaps if you need to escape as well. Jax's next ability is called Empower, which is his W. Jax's next basic attack or Leap Strike within 10 seconds deals bonus magic damage. The bonus magic damage is between 40 and 180 plus 60% AP, and Empower also resets Jax's auto attack timer. The cost is 30 mana, and the cooldown goes from 7 to 3 seconds at max rank. Now this is the ability we max first on Jax, mainly because the cost is half of what your Q is, as well as the cooldown, so you can use it a lot more often. With this ability, if you jump in, then auto attack, then use this right after, you can get a really fast 3 attacks off and proc both your ultimate and your Thunderlord's Decree. This combo is part of the reason Jax can do such chunky bursts. He can even go in with his E procced, so when he jumps in, he can get off a stun and just auto attack to victory. Now we move on to the last of his basic abilities, and it's another reason he's so damn strong. This ability is called Counter Strike, and it is his E. Jax enters a defensive stance for up to 2 seconds, blocking all basic attacks and reducing area effect abilities by 25% for the duration. At the end of the duration, or if Counter Strike is activated again, Jax stuns all nearby enemies for 1 second and deals them physical damage, increased by 20% for each attack dodged, up to a maximum of 100%. The minimum physical damage is between 50 and 150 plus 50% bonus AD, and the bonus physical damage per hit is between 10 and 30 plus 10% AD. The range is 187.5, and the cost is between 50 and 90 mana, and the cooldown starts at 16 seconds, and at max rank is 8 seconds. Now, as you can see from the ratios, this is not taken for the damage, it is taken for the stun and the reduced damage. Since only the cooldown goes down and the bonus physical damage goes up a little bit, we max this last since it's really only used for blocking damage and to stun teams. Lastly, we land at another really strong part of his kit, which is his ultimate, and it is called Grandmaster's Might. So the passive part, Jax deals bonus magic damage on every third basic attack within 2.5 seconds, and the magic damage is between 100 and 220 plus 70% AP. As for the active, Jax gains bonus armor and magic resistance for 8 seconds. The bonus armor is between 30 and 70 plus 50% bonus AD armor. The bonus magic resist is between 30 and 70 plus 20% AP magic resistance. The cost is 100 mana and the cooldown is always 80 seconds without cooldown reduction. Well, the passive's strong and the active's strong. The passive does a lot of damage, and it works really nicely with your Thunderlord's Decree, since both of them are every third attack on an enemy. And the active is honestly even better. As you can see, the base at max rank is 70 for both armor and magic resistance. And on top of that, you get additional from your bonus AD and AP. When you activate this, it's like you casually have an extra Spirit Visage and like a Randuin's or something, at least the equivalent armor and magic resist, obviously not the health and whatnot, but still. And 8 seconds is actually a really long time in a team fight, especially when you have a Jax that's jumped in, stunned some targets, and is going to town on them. As you're about to see in the item build guide, that's why we can get stuff like a Sterax, which doesn't actually have armor or magic resist, but it does have a lot of health, which actually makes us really tanky, considering we're going to have a shitload of armor and magic resist anyways. Well, let's look at that item build. It starts with a Corrupting Potion because it's got really strong sustain, and it also helps you duel people because of the little burn you get on it. We then rush into a Ginsu's Rage Blade. It's an amazing damage item that works very well on a hybrid carry like Jax. It adds a ton of attack speed and some AoE as well. We then get Boots of Swiftness because it's great added mobility, which is obviously amazing on a kind of assassin-y type of champion like Jax, even though he's also tanky, so saying he's an assassin really isn't fair. We then get a Hextech Gunblade because it's a great AD and AP item. It's got amazing sustain as well, and it is a strong active for catching people as well. We then go into the item I was talking about before, which is a Sterax Gauge. It's got lots of health with a nice activated shield and 25% AD bonus when it procs as well. This item alone can make it so you don't really get bursted too often because you do get a 30% health shield, which is actually pretty huge. We then follow this up with Eternity Force because it works really well with your low cooldown kit, and it's got nice stats and movement speed as well. Now obviously the Sheen component of this item is a very nice thing as well with your Empower. We then take a Spirit Visage because it's got nice defensive stats and it will further increase your sustain in fights since you do get more health back. It also adds 10% cooldown reduction, which is pretty nice as well. A few alternatives would be a Blade of the Ruined King because it's a great dueling item, although I do think Hextech Gunblade is better in most situations. Randuin's is a really great item as well on Jax, especially if you are against high AD teams. The last alternative listed would be a Ghostblade if you want to be more of an assassin chasing type of Jax, which is also very fun to play. And that pretty much covers it for the Jax Top Lane Guide by eGaming Television. If you guys would like to see more guides by us, you could go to www.egamingtv.com. On our Champion Guides page, which is under our Show tab, you will find all of our current Champion Guides. We are relatively new, but we do have a nice chunk of guides up there already. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. We'll be having videos coming up pretty much daily, so be sure to check those out. We also have regular skin giveaways, so being subscribed, you are eligible for those as well. And that pretty much closes this guide. You guys chose a good guide to watch. Jax is probably in the top 2 top laners right now. It's probably between Jax and Mundo in my opinion. So you've definitely chosen a good champion to learn. Hopefully he doesn't keep getting banned against you though. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the future.